Hello and welcome to the Guest EdTech Virtual Summit Dubai. Thank you for joining us. We're pleased to introduce you to Massrat Shaikh, educational psychologist at Ahlam Training and Higher Education Services. We hope that you enjoy the session, and over to you, Massrat.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Danny, for introducing me. It is my pleasure to join this summit. I was looking ahead to see you all in person. However, I'm still grateful that I'm able to contribute here virtually from Oman, and hopefully at some time in future we will be able to meet. So today's presentation, I'm talking about providing EdTech services, the EdTech solutions to special education needs students. So as an educational psychologist in Oman, I have been working for more than 12 years in this field. Mainly my work consists of diagnosis and identification of learning problems in students. Being a consultant to most of the schools here in Oman, and Oman being a small country, I had been usually struggling to gather support and resources for my students. And in my quest to gather and bring to Oman any kind of support that I could, I did find digital solutions to have helped me immensely in recent years. So in this presentation, I will be sharing my experience with EdTech, whether I find EdTech fits with special education needs, and based on my case studies, the benefits that EdTech has for special education needs students. Over these years, I have gathered a huge amount of data, assessing, doing psychoeducational assessment for more than 1,000 students. The basic assessment tool that I always use with my students is Wechsler's Intelligence Scale for Children. There are five main areas that WISC usually measures, and that is verbal intelligence, visual processing, nonverbal intelligence, working memory, and processing speed. The graph that you see here are the profiles of two of my students. They are different in age and very different to what problems they have. But one similarity here we see is their graphs dip on scores they have got on working memory and processing speed. So this is one constant that I have found in thousands of profiles like this. So no matter what difficulties the students have, one constant that I have found that majority of SEN students have is working memory and processing speed challenges. And these are the executive functions of the brain. Strong working memory is vital for concentration, reasoning, learning, and resisting distraction. Also, the cognitive speed at which special needs students learn is usually slow. So, no matter what challenges the student has, the executive functions, the weak working memory, and processing stand as a huge barrier to learning. Imagine a child who finds it hard to learn words, finds it hard to put sounds together, but at the same time also has short attention span, gets distracted so easily, and cannot learn faster or cannot remember and recall information. So, as an educator, I'm putting all my effort in teaching the student the alphabets, the phonics, teaching them combining sounds, putting sounds together to make words. But what am I going to do of that distractibility, of that slow speed of learning, of those challenges of recall and memory? So, as an educator, I feel overwhelmed supporting SEN students sometimes, working so hard with less progress. And these were the answers I was looking for. And how do I support my students cognitively? So, this is how I started looking at EdTech resources to help me with my SEN students. Now, I do see this across schools with many of my colleagues who are educators, with students I have assessed. It is not easy to make progress if a student has a neurological condition such as ADHD or learning problems such as dyslexia. With the conventional methods of teaching that we use, Holding the attention of the student is hard, and the retention rate is low. Also, because of having constant failures, students may have behavioral and emotional challenges. That makes it hard to engage them in learning. And some other difficulties they may have is impulsivity or restlessness or temper tantrums or acting out. Also, when learning becomes hard, special needs students usually suffer from low self confidence and low self esteem. So imagine having all of those challenges put together, especially this year, and to engage our SEN students remotely. I'm in awe of our teachers who have managed to do that. But certainly, this year has been a learning slide for SEN students. These learning gaps will go wider, the learning loss more deeper, and that motivation for both educators and students takes a further dip. So, we are going through a time where the neuroscience is at its peak. This is a revolution of neuroscience. Earlier, it was one article in neuroscience per week. Now we have approximately 30,000 research articles shared per month. So there is a lot of research coming out in neuroscience. And we talk about digital products. We should look for products that have solid neuroscience backing. The more research backing a product has, that would show us how good the product really is. The neuroplasticity of the brain is the key concept here. Neuroplasticity shows us that in response to experience, our brain can change. Our traditional view has been that the kind of brain change only happens at certain developmental periods, that is, in early development. It is only recently that we have got a fuller understanding as to how plastic our brain is. So, a dyslexic student can learn to read. A child with ADHD can learn inhibition if we can train their brain. So, if digital solutions are based on neuroscience, they are targeting specific cognitive skills that we were not capable of doing before. So, as an educator, I was teaching my students, but I didn't know how I can help my students pay attention better. Hence, neuroscience products specifically targeting cognitive skills. And these products basically help us to move faster and make progress faster, and learning is accelerated. So, this is a combination generally that I use. This is just one of the examples of it. I usually use a literacy and cognitive training program combined together. So no matter what learning challenges students have, it is usually foundational skills such as reading, spelling, comprehension, vocabulary that we see the learning gaps on. So this is where I need accelerated progress on these foundational skills. And I'd always couple it up with some of the cognitive training programs, as we just talked about, that SEN students always have cognitive difficulties. So unless we are not targeting cognitive training, it will be very hard to make any progress. So combining the two comes out wonderfully as an excellent program to move ahead. Here, this is using digital solutions means that learning is not passive. It is not just me as a teacher explaining things, but rather students are actively engaged with the software. So students are engaged as they select their answers by responding to questions, and learning takes place by this active participation. Active learning rewires the brain. Students learn new skills that they didn't have before. A student with attention deficit learns to hold his attention. As a student having difficulties with phonological awareness learns to understand sounds. Also, because it is cognitive training, it's consistent, providing constant stimulation to the brain to learn. For example, if I find it hard to blend sounds on my first trial, or my fifth, or my 10th, I will certainly learn that skill on my 50th trial. So that's the amount of practice that the student gets. And as a teacher, I won't be able to provide that to my students using any other conventional method. Also, one of the biggest advantage I see is that softwares adapt infinitely. Now my students do not have to keep up with me, but the program adapts to them, makes learning personalized for them. Even if two students started training at the same time, they are at different levels in their progress. So here I'll just show you a demo of what the programs look like. Now, this is a simple exercise of teaching sight words. As students click on that yellow paw down, they hear a word and they have to identify the same word as fishes start moving across the screen. They click on the fish that has their word. I find this exercise so engaging. Students have to constantly pay attention to get the right answers. So it's building their attention span. They have to hold the word in their memory till they see their word, building their short term memory. Once they see the fish, they have to quickly respond, building the speed of processing. And at the same time, this is teaching students sight words, spelling, vocabulary, as well as their ability to follow instructions. And and the look of it just looks so engaging. I like doing it myself. Um, this is another demo of a reading assistant product that I use with my students. Now, this program offers a library of books. The program offers an audio function where the students first listen to the book. They practice difficult vocabulary and pronunciation, and then the students practice reading by recording themselves, and the software picks up their reading mistakes and offers three more chances on recording till they have mastered all the words present on the text. At the end, it gives questions on the text to build comprehension. Students go step by step here in learning to read. It offers motivation as students can play the recording and hear themselves read. And I find that as the most important function because they are just so interested in listening to themselves. I find this software so useful in teaching reading and so quick in teaching that I don't feel any other conventional method or with any other book, I would be able to gain that kind of acceleration and that quick progress in teaching reading to any of my SEN students. So I've gained a lot of progress with my students just with this program. This is beyond anything that I might be able to offer my students using all of the programs, other conventional methods put together. So this kind of digital solutions provide support and learning opportunity that is so flexible and yet so structured. Uh, this is cognitive training. This is a demo of CogMed, which I use. Now, CogMed is working memory training. And as I said, it is essential for SEN students to go through working memory training, an essential part of learning for SEN students. Without cognitive training, it is difficult to make progress with SEN students. With working memory training, students follow a protocol of using it 3 days or 5 days a week. And that consistency helps them improve their working memory. Here, students also learn discipline since they have to follow a structured time limit and protocol for the program. Programs like these are extremely beneficial for students with attention deficit, especially. A cognitive program like this improves memory by 30 to 40%. And that means better attention regulation, more control over impulsivity, better behavior, higher confidence, and more learning. Now, SE and students and EdTech plays off wonderfully together also for the mental well-being. Mental well-being is an additional benefit that I have found in EdTech. The constant use of affirmative language that the programs use provides this encouragement. With, like, for example, with every answer, the students hear affirmatives such as "good job," or "you are on a winning streak," or "excellent," or "try again." This encourages the student and keeps them engaged. So, as an educator, even if I make a conscious choice of providing encouragement and using affirmative vocabulary, I think I will fail to do so consistently. The software also gives them the constant feedback that motivates them to keep moving ahead. Also, the program offers challenge, giving levels to keep moving up. So, this work individually, uh, also as child works individually on the software, and this is like they are working in their comfort zone where they feel less threatened. They have no fear of others picking up on their mistakes, so the software offers this non-judgmental support and gives every student a chance to success. It keeps the students interest high, reduces so much learning stress, that feeling of shame, feeling of being incompetent, all of that is removed here. And what is left is just confidence and progress. So this I see as a win-win when it comes to edtech and SEL learning. And then last but not the least, for our educators, um, using digital solutions has helped me to provide layers of support to my students. As an educator using digital solutions, I saw my role shifting to more of a facilitator. So there is no more this overwhelming feeling that I need to do so much within so less time, or that I lack the resources or the help I need. Nor is there this feeling that, in spite of all my efforts, I might not end up making any progress with my students. And it is the worst feeling of helplessness and failure. So, using digital solutions not only supports the mental well being of my students, but my well being too. And then finally, I'd like to share with you all the kind of feedback that I get from my parents that motivates me to keep going ahead. As we can see from the feedback here, that students do enjoy these lessons. They become more happier, make progress faster than anyone expects. So, I'm not here making any claims that digital solutions are perfect solutions or are a panacea, or that every student who receives this support will make 100% progress. Not at all. One of my students who is receiving this support is in grade 6, but he reads at grade 1 level. I cannot fill for him all the gaps 100%, but using some of the softwares here, I have stimulated his brain. I have instilled confidence and brought him closer to reaching his goals. So even if I stop providing that support at some point, I know my student has found his path and continues on his journey to progress. So, with this, I come to the end of my presentation here. I come with gratitude to all of you listening to my talk and to guests for bringing me this opportunity to be part of the summit, and to my colleagues at guests who are working extra hard in this challenging time to continue and bring this event together virtually to our homes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Massrat. That was great and very informative. If you have any questions pertaining to the session, you can connect with Massrat through the networking system on the virtual event platform. We'd also love to hear from you, so feel free to share any thoughts or comments by sending us an email to marketing@guesteducation.com. We'll be on social media as well during the summit, so if you want to chat to us there, follow us on Twitter @guesteducation and use the hashtags #guestedtech and #guestdubai. This is just one of many on-demand videos that you can watch at any time during the summit, as well as a full program of live keynote and panel sessions across both days. We hope that you enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.